All right, so I have to catch you all up on and myself up on what happened at the end of my cycle. So this will be cycle day 25, 26, 27, and then my cycle day 28 turned into my cycle day 1. So the reason that I have not updated was because that was my last few days together with my partner, and I just wanted to take every moment that I had with him, and I didn't do any work, and we just spent time together. So we were in Bangkok, and yeah, I was pretty exhausted. Like my last update, cycle day, yeah, ever since cycle day around 21, 22, I became really exhausted. So that continued through the rest of my cycle. So we didn't really do much beyond, we went out, we did a bit of shopping, walking around markets. We did end up going to a comedy club, and I was getting really annoyed with some people that were there that were disturbing and a few people that were drunk, and just noticed my tolerance was really, really low to handle the distraction because I was there to enjoy myself, and it was not as enjoyable with those people being so disruptive. So that was a bit frustrating. And yeah, then we just spent time in our hotel room, chilling out, spending time, just being with one another. And then, yeah, last minute, I decided to change my flight and leave earlier than I was going to. And so there was a bit of stress at the end as we were figuring everything out. But then on cycle day 27, my partner and I were saying goodbye, and he dropped me off at the Bangkok airport, and he was going across the city to the other airport as he was flying out a few hours after I was. And it was a very emotional time that last day. It was very emotional, and still getting teary eyed as I think and talk about it now. Um, and so we said goodbye to one another in the Bangkok airport, and put on a very teary show for some bystanders that were watching us um, do that. And so, yeah, it probably was not ideal to have a big goodbye like that, because it's a time I don't know when I'm going to see him next, and so it's quite hard. And being at the end of my cycle, like, just added on to the emotion that I was feeling. And as we come to the end of our inner autumn, and it was my last day of my cycle, going into the portal of inner winter again, comes that the extra heaviness and darkness that, um, yeah, just brings the depths of our soul to the surface and easier to access, and then adding on this, yeah, this goodbye um, to the person I love most in the world, and then, um, yeah, it just added an extra layer of grief. So it was not an ideal time in my cycle to say the goodbye, but I am honoring it for what it was, and just honoring my body and how I felt being in that space of my inner winter, and not stifling any emotions or, shaming myself into, saying it's weak to cry, which is what I have thought previously. But allowing myself to cry freely, and in the middle of the Bangkok airport with thousands of people around. And um, yeah, so that's growth that I have had myself, and the beauty of allowing, um, yeah, my allowing myself to share my grief with my partner, and um, making it free for him to cry as well in the airport, and allowing people to see that. And so it was a beautiful, vulnerable, really difficult moment, but um, yeah, that's what happened on cycle day 27. Then on cycle day 28, um, I was in the plane for most of the day. I had a long layover in Manila, and so I was in Manila and I didn't do much at all. I just stayed in the hotel I was at. I only left to go get food and then come back, and I slept a lot. I took a nap and just honored my body and what it was feeling. And I had plans to do work that I had to get done, and I didn't do that either, and I just did nothing, even though it's hard to do that in transition. And I'm in emotional transition, I am in physical transition from one place to another, and so my body just needed to do nothing, and that's what I did. And then, yeah, so then when I got on the plane from Manila, then to New York, was when my day 28 turned into day 1 as I began to bleed. So, not an ideal way to start my period, but it was unavoidable, and so I just took extra care to try and get more sleep and rest, and I couldn't really do much on the plane, so that was good to just close my eyes, rest, and not do much. And then that was the end of my cycle. So I I thank you for sticking around. If you've watched all of these videos and seen where I have gone throughout my cycle, I hope that it has been informative into, what cycle awareness and cyclical living can look like, and just honoring how I'm feeling and what is happening in each day, and just being in tune to, what day you are on in your cycle, and how that can inform what you plan to do, and how you can align your life and self to those energies that we have throughout our cycle with our hormones. So yeah, I just thank you, and I feel just so grateful that I got to share, a few minutes every day with you, and that you stuck around and watched it. So I hope you have a beautiful cycle day, whatever it is for you today, and just tuning in to yourself and your heart.